So I have a test render here so that we can see all the things that we can start improving before we get to a final render. And there are a few things that are very visible here. First, we have to tweak the mapping for these concrete pieces here, because all the concrete in all the different pieces has to have the same size. So we have to worry about that. So let's go ahead and do that first. So I'm going to select one of these objects, and I'm just going to go to the modifier list, scroll down, and find the UVW map. In here, I'm going to switch this to box, and I'm just going to put an overall value. Let's try 500 by 500 by 500. So I have a perfect cube in here. I can even move this around if I want. It doesn't really matter. What it matters is that now that I have this map, I'm going to paste this as an instance all over the other objects that has the same material. So I'm just going to select this, right click, copy this out, and then I'm just going to go to the other objects, right click, and paste as an instance. And I'm just going to do this all over with every single object that I know that has the same material. So that way we can be sure that the whole texture is going to look the same size overall, all the objects. Once that's done, it's time for us to focus our attention on the overall lighting. Like I said to you in the previous clip, it's important for us to review the overall lighting now that we have our materials applied. We have a lot of light materials with this concrete, but still it's nice to overlook everything. So I'm going to just increase a little bit our exposure. We have a value of 1, so remember, higher values will enable less light to come in, and lower values will enable more light to come in. So I'm going to lower this to something like 0.7 so that my overall lighting looks better. And I'm going to try a test render. So this is the overall lighting. It looks a lot better. Like I said, we don't have to tweak a lot because we have a lot of light materials, but it's still very important to do it. So one thing you can notice right away is that we have a lot of noise problems, and it comes all around the materials and the lights. So let's begin with the subdivs for the lights. Let's solve the noise problems for all of the lights in our scene. So let's go ahead and do that. One thing we can do to make it easier is change our filter of selection to just lights. That way, I cannot select anything that isn't light, so it makes our work a lot easier. And what I'll have to do here is just select the light, you scroll down to the options, and right under options we have sampling. And right now we have a sampling of 8 subdivs, so that is really low. This is test render resolution, so we need to increase that quite a bit. For my renders, I tend to use 64. I'm pretty happy with this for most of my scenes, but we are going to test it out to see if this is okay. So I'm just going to do this all over the scene with every single light. Just select it and increase the subdivs to 64. And as always, I'm just going to cut through this stage because it's very tedious. So I'm done with the resolution of every single light in my scene, and most of my lights I duplicated as instances, so this job should be quick if you've done that yourself. You have to remember to also increase the subdivs on the V-Ray Sun because it's also really low. So increase this. Usually I increase this to 64 as well. So remember to increase also in the sun. So just go ahead and do that in every single light in your scene. And in our next clip, we're going to move on to other settings in our scene. So I'll see you guys then.